This conference will now be recorded.
So the term pharmacognosy means pharmacon and gnosis. The pharmacon means drug, gnosis means knowledge. Or gignosco means to acquire the knowledge of. Thus, the full meaning of pharmacognosy is knowledge of drugs or to acquire the knowledge of drugs. You can see the screen, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, what type of drugs we study? The knowledge of crude drugs. What are crude drugs? Crude drugs are nothing but the drugs which are obtained from the natural sources. Either it might be from animal, plant, mineral, or marine origin, which has not undergone any other process. It has not undergone any other process except the collection and the drying. What are the other process we call it as? So in the definition itself, we say that it has to be prepared for the commerce, then it has to be cut, then it has to be extracted sometimes, then isolated. The drug which has not undergone any other process like extraction, isolation, and preparation for the commerce, packing, everything. So if it has not undergone any of these parameters, then it is called as a crude drug. So a study of these crude drugs is called as a pharmacognosy. The what and all you will study, you have studied in the definition. Now, what is pharmacognosy? The pharmacognosy is study of morphological, microscopical, physical, chemical, biochemical, and biological properties of these crude drugs. So the sources of crude drugs I have told. The sources of crude drugs is plant, animal, marine, mineral, and recently we have added the tissue culture one more, because see, when you have to cultivate the plants from a seed, you have to sow the seed, then it has to grow into a plant. After growing into a plant, it takes years. Now in tissue culture, what we do is a part of a plant, it might be the leaf, a part of a leaf is taken and it is tissue cultured, means it is put it in a test tube, like in a microbiology, you put it in a test tube and grow into a plant. So from a single leaf, you can create millions of plants or the thousands of plants, or a single plant, you can create a millions of plants. But from a single seed, you can create only the single plant. That's how the tissue culture helps us. So when you are creating orchids or something which is growing in acres of land for the something for the purpose of arrangement, or something like ornamental plants, or it might be of anything of aromatic plants which gives an oil. So this type, if you go with the tissue culture, it is always useful, because from a single plant, probably only from a leaf, you need not to have a seed, you will have a number of plants there. Tissue culture helps. Even the tissue culture, the plant, it has to be studied in detail. The morphological, microscopical, whatever I have mentioned here, that has to be studied. The study of morphological, microscopical, physical, chemical, biochemical, and biological properties of drug substances from the natural origin. Coming to the morphological, so one more is there. This is a physical. This is first one is a morphological, where you will study about the color, order, taste, of a drug. Once you take a cinnamon, probably the chekke, what you call it as, or the dalchini, when you take it, as soon as you see, you can identify this is a dalchini by the color, the odor, and by probably if you put it in your mouth, you know that it tastes something sweet, aromatic, sweet. So as soon as you just put it in your mouth, you will tell that, yeah, this is, by seeing the ginger, shape of a ginger, the color, and the smell of it. Probably when you taste is the smell of it, you can just feel that this is a ginger, not the turmeric. You can differentiate. That is the morphological characters. And apart from the color, order, taste, please do write. Apart from the color, order, taste, external feature also you're going to see. External features in the sense, probably the leaf, if you take a leaf margin, leaf color, order, taste. Apart from this, the margin, the apex, and the leaf node. So, or the leaf is arranged with the what ratch is, means where, like if you take a curry leaves, it is attached. If you take a neem leaves also, it is attached with the one stem, like which we call it as a ratchis. So by just seeing that you will tell. So that is called the morphological. Coming to the microscopy, we do either the LS or the TS, transverse section or the longitudinal section. You have to take and cut it with using a blade. Then you are going to study the different parts of a microscopically. You're going to study the different type of cells present in the plant. Like you know that the plant contains a parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. What type of parenchyma you can see, what type of sclerenchyma, xylem, phloem, arrangement of xylem and phloem, starch grains are present or not. This is all called as a microscopical study. In the microscopical, we will have a quantitative microscopy also, where you're going to identify number of stomata, number of palisade cells, means you're going to count it. Here in the microscopy, normal microscopical, you're going to just see the cells. After seeing the cells, quantitative microscopy, you're going to count the number of cells. Coming to the physical, you can see on the slide physical. VK, who's this VK? Put off your mic. VK. So coming to the physical parameters, you can see the moisture content, extractive value, ash value, pH, melting point, solubility, probably solubility, melting point, pH, all this you would have studied. Not as a ash value, extractive values, and moisture content. Moisture content, water, amount of the water present in the plants you are going to identify. So if you store if you take a drug, if it contains, if it is wet, you cannot dress. Like paddy, if you take an example of paddy or the wheat, so as it is raw, however you collect it from the field, you can't just store it. It will, no, you know that it'll have a mold growth or the yeast growth on that. So if you have to remove the moisture present in that, you have to dry. In the dried condition, when you store, you can store it for 4 to 5 years. So the removal of the moisture content is very important. So probably if you dry also, there will be a residual moisture, and you should know how much amount of a moisture can be there in the medicinal plants or the cultivate or collected plant materials. So coming to the extractive values. So your I know you don't know what is constituents in the plants. So you're going to extract it in a different solvents. Something is present in the plants which you're going to medicinally active ingredients are present in the plants that you are going to extract with the different solvents, that is called extractive values. Ash values, some inorganic material will be present in the plant. You're going to identify, because inorganic material should not be present in the exceeding limits. There is a monograph like a IPBP and the herbal pharmacopoeia. It give a limits, so it should not exceed the limits. So if it exceeds, probably it causes probably the kidney stones. That is due to the calcium carbonate. So the amount of the calcium present in as an inorganic material in the plant also will affect as when you take a plant. It might be in the powder form or in any form. When you take it, it will start storing in your body. You might take a decoction. I think when you boil the tea powder, any powder, and in a water, and calcium is soluble in water, probably it will come in that decoction, and you are going to drink it morning 15 ml and the evening 15 ml, and this calcium will start storing in your body. It might form a kidney stone also. So this has to be monitored, amount of a ash value, to know that the inorganic material present in the plant. The pH is, pH is we are going to identify for the liquid, So how much the pH and the melting point of a few drugs, and the solubility is very important. Based on the constituents, it is in which solvent it is soluble, you will come to know. Coming to the chemical, so in the chemical we identify the first what chemical is present, then we extract it, then we isolate the chemical constituents, then we'll identify what is that composition. It's alkaloids. There are varieties of this one. I'll come in the next one. What are those chemical constituents? I'll explain to you. So in that chemical constituents, you will have a different varieties: alkaloids, glycosides, tannins, resins. Like how we study the carbohydrates, proteins, and lipids. Like here also you have a different kind of chemical constituents. You're going to extract them, isolate them, and you're going to identify the composition of that. And each one will be identified through the chemical test. Coming to the biochemical, these constituents are characterized by, once you identify these are the chemical constituents present in the plant, then you have to characterize them. Yeah, this is a constituent, like in a cinchona, like we are using in a corona, hydroquinone. So this hydroquinone is basically it came from a cinchona plant. Cinchona we extracted from the quinine. Later, one addition of a chlorine moiety to that, it became a chloroquinine. Then it becomes a hydroquinone. So one hydroxy molecule extra added and hydroquinone. So this hydroquinone, now we were using it, for now we are not using. We were using, thinking that it's very effective for the COVID-19. They were using. So how to characterize? It contains this moiety only, this hydroxyl group, this methyl group. That is all done by a few chromatographic or the spectroscopic technique called NMR, HPLC, and mass spectroscopy, high performance liquid chromatography, and nuclear magnetic resonance, and the mass spectroscopy and infrared spectroscopy. This in detail we'll study later. Coming to the biological, so once you know the drug, so you're going to identify its pharmacology, means what is the use of a drug and how it is beneficial to the mankind. And if it is beneficial, what is its adverse? Definitely anything is beneficial, definitely it will have its own adverse effect or the side effects. What are those? So study of all these is called the pharmacognosy. Study of morphology, microscopy, physical characteristics, biochemical, chemical, and the biological property of a drug is called the pharmacognosy. Apart from that, we read a cultivation, collection, history, storage, and preparation for the commerce. This includes the pharmacognosy. When you study, when you take a one drug, probably which drug you know better? Clove. Clove, so everybody knows. When you take a clove, after taking a clove, if you study all these parameters, then you can see the pharmacognosy of clove is this. Got it? If I ask you the pharmacognosy of a clove, you're going to study about its morphology, microscopy, then physical, chemical, biochemical, biological properties, cultivation, collection, its history, then preparation for the commerce. You're following me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Any doubt?
Yes.
Any doubts? Any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I see. If you don't have any doubts now, I'll conduct a Zoom meeting and you have to come live, everyone, and I'll keep asking everyone. So what is this? What is this? You have to answer. Got it? So coming to
Ma'am,
the
you
introduction.
explained about the cloud, no, ma'am.
Huh?
And that you
Have to
will say once again, ma'am.
Which one?
About cloud, ma'am.
Okay. Now you know the parameters, right? What and all parameters you're going to study for a crude drug? You know what is a crude drug now, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, if I say that pharmacognosy of a clove, write the pharmacognosy of a clove means you're going to study all, you're going to write all this or study all these parameters, that is morphological, microscopical, physical, chemical, biochemical, biological, cultivation, collection, preparation of a clove to market. All this will include in a pharmacognosy of a clove. If I ask you the pharmacognosy of a clove, got it?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. So one more thing is there in pharmacognosy. I'll come to later. The biological source. So biological source, matlab, it will have a the part of a plant used. I'll explain later. Probably you will understand. I'll write on the this one slides. If I say and giving example, you will understand. Coming to the again, and so this is, you know what is pharmacognosy. Coming to the introduction to pharmacognosy. Pharmacognosy is an applied science which is concerned with the acquiring knowledge of crude drugs. Now you know what is a crude drugs by the application of various scientific disciplines. Pharmacognosy deals with natural products and it is described as the study of medicinal and therapeutic agents of natural origins. Now, in the PharmD and B.Pharm, we'll study the medicinal agents itself. But here in the pharmacognosy, you're going to study about the medicinal or therapeutic agents of natural origin. So the origin or the source of natural origin of these drugs are plants, animals, mineral sources, marine, and tissue culture may not be the natural source, but these, the explant or the plant which is used to grow the millions of plants is from a natural source. As such, in tissue culture, you can't just grow off by putting chemicals. So it needs a plant source to grow into a million. Probably the source what you're using, means you're not using probably to cultivate it or to grow or to spring or to just sprout. You may not using the soil, but you're using any chemical medium. But the thing is, to grow, you're using ultimately the leaf, or it might be the node, or it might be the internode, something which is of natural source. Now, the source of plant material is plants, animals, minerals. Please do write that plants, animals, minerals, marine, and the tissue culture. There are 5 sources of drugs. So, pharmacognosy is a study of medicinal and therapeutic agents of natural origin containing plants, animals, mineral sources, marine, tissue culture, which includes the study of history, distribution, cultivation, collection, preparation, identification, evaluation. So previously, I told the parameters, chemical, physical, biochemical, biological. These are all will come under the evaluation parameters. Got it? And preservation and commerce. So this is a study of a pharmacognosy. If you want to define a pharmacognosy is study of a medicine and therapeutic agents obtained from the plants, animals, mineral sources, marine tissue culture. It also includes the study of their history, distribution, cultivation, collection, preparation, identification, evaluation, preparation, and preparation to commerce or the and commerce. So this is the definition of pharmacognosy. To define the pharmacognosy, we have gone through the so many slides.
Ma'am, this definition also we can take down, ma'am.
Please, just tell me when you
Okay,
finish.
ma'am. Over, ma'am.
Okay. One more question will come in the definition itself. Like, mm, if you take this, where is this? If you take this plant, animals, mineral, these are they'll ask you what are the sources of drugs. Plants, animals, mineral, marine and tissue culture are the sources of drug. That is one. One question is over. Definition 2 question is over. Third question, you know what is the pharmacognosy of a drug means. What and all parameters. You please write down when I am telling you the questions. Define pharmacognosy is over. The second question is sources of drug is over. Plants, animals, mineral, marine and the tissue culture. The third question is what you can answer for third question. What might be the third question? Evaluation parameters. What are the evaluation parameters? That is morphological, microscopical, chemical, biochemical, biological. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Clear. Coming to the origins and history of pharmacognosy. Pharmacognosy is like, who started this? Like, if you, I don't know, you get a questions like this. Now we have started using allopathy. From where this origin of pharmacognosy started? Means origin of allopathy started. Means if you take a paracetamol, the paracetamol contains one drug, a paracetamol. If you take salicylic acid, that is a salicylic acid. Now if you take a caffeine, this is one drug. Now probably anything and everything, whatever you take it, so that there is a, like, from where it would have got evolved, how they started synthesizing all these drugs. So we'll get definitely a question this in the mind. So like same way, how we started using these natural drugs, or probably the whatever it is there on the earth, how we started using these as a medicinal agents. We know there are millions of plants on the earth, probably only the thousands of plants we are using right now. So, but at least in the millions of plants, how we started using all this drugs
Last 10
as
minutes
an
தான் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணீங்க. Last 10 minutes. ஃபர்ஸ்ட் நாங்க
curative
45
agent.
ஆன் பண்ணிட்டு வச்சிட்டோம்னா லாஸ்ட் 10 minutes தான் கிளாஸ் ஆன் பண்ணாங்க. ஆன் பண்ணிட்டு
Who's this M? Excuse me, M.
இன்ஸ்ட்ரக்ஷன் கொடுக்குறாங்க.
M. Mute yourself, or I should mute your M. Who's M? I know sometimes we forget, but please be careful. So, origin and history of pharmacognosy. Pharmacognosy is regarded as a mother of all sciences. So, without the pharmacognosy, probably we would not have got any allopathic drug. History of pharmacognosy represents the history of pharmacy and medicine. So, if you read the history of pharmacognosy, you are reading the history of pharmacy, not only the pharmacy, history of the medicine also. So when you go to the, probably if you had gone to the MBBS or somebody has gone to the MBBS, you just ask what is the history of medicine you study. So they start, once I complete this, I'll start the history of medicine. Same history of a pharmacognosy, what I'm telling, they'll also study the history of a medicine. So probably they talk it as, or they tell it as a history of medicine, but we tell it as history of pharmacognosy. History of pharmacognosy is the basis for the history of medicine. So pharmacognosy had its origin in the health-related activities of most primitive human race of the remote past. The early man sought to alleviate his sufferings of illness and injuries by using this plants. He used to cure by using this plant materials. Studies of the use of medicinal plants is prehistoric. So the study of plants as a therapeutic agents is not started in 100 years ago, or it is from the pre-existence era or the prehistoric era. Discovery of the medicinal properties of plants and other natural products started in the very early days of man existence. So probably the before the mankind existed in the animal kind itself, if you think of a monkey. So I know you don't know the Rauwolfia drug. It contains an antihypertensive drug. So in India, we never used, but from past 10 years, we have started using, I think you know, Himalayan Drug Company. So Himalayan Drug Company started, that is the first company started manufacturing this Rauwolfia, which contains an antihypertensive. First, they started exporting because we hardly use, you know, anything which is native to India, we don't like it. It has to be exported from the other countries. We definitely will love it and we like it and we'll start using them. So, but when you, so over a period, they started using this Rauwolfia as an antihypertensive. But the founder of Himalayan company, how he came to know that this Rauwolfia is being used as an antihypertensive. So he used to travel a lot when he went to the Himalayan ranges. So you know, Himalayans, wherever the mountains regions and the many trees are there, the monkeys will be more. In Bangalore also there are more monkeys. So these monkeys, they'll fight a lot. Used to watch them. As soon as the fight is get over, they used to run and go, and they used to dig something, the plant, and they used to take a one root and they used to eat. And as soon as they eat, they used to get calmed down. So he started thinking there is something in the root which calms this. So many of the plant drugs as a therapeutic agents evolved like this. Even the elephants eat many of this. If you see the dog eats the grasses many times, but we don't know, probably they would have eaten something which is not digestible. Probably it'll eat, I don't know the reason, but I've never seen, probably I never thought the dog will eat grass, but they eat grass. Probably it has something digestive property, probably that. So even Himalayan company founder, he got is branded one antihypertensive drug, Rauwolfia, as in through his traveling, then by seeing the behavior of monkeys. So when probably they get an agitated, angry, they used to dig this root and they used to get calmed down. That is a very important one aspect. That's how we have got all the most of the uses of medicinal drugs by a trial and error method. So pharmacognosy is regarded, that is over. So this is like how they used these drugs as a medicinal agent is by a trial and error, by observation of animal instincts on plants. So like dog eating a grass, probably it is indigestant, and you know that many a times they make a juice of a grass and eat, drink. And this antihypertensive drug, this is an Rauwolfia. All this by using a animal instincts. They have that instincts. By seeing these plants, this will be used for this. And if you see that goat will not use a one drug. That is, we call it as adumuttadaballi. Means this goat will eat all the plants on the earth, but it will not touch that. The name of the plant is Tylophora indica. It contains a bitter alkaloid, which is very toxic in nature. So it will not go and touch, or it will not go smell. By smell only it will come to know this is this plant, and it will not touch. So we started doing, as a human, you know that we have a curiosity of learning, and except our students, everybody will have a curiosity. So they started like, what is this? It might contain. Then started extracting. Then they came to know it contains entylophorin. This is an alkaloid. It is highly bitter in taste. All those. So this is by observation. Then you know that a few things we'll always believe. Probably when you go to the temple, we'll just take a whatever the priest will give as a tirtha. It is like, it is so good. Like there he would have put the what? Osimum, tulsi, which is actually carbonative, which enhances your digestion and increases your appetite. So he would have add that karpur. So that also gives a good smell. So by that smell, you feel so good after going to the temple. That's how we go to the temple, because it gives a good aroma. When the aromatherapy, it gives one divination with something it calms down your central nervous system. It not excites, it calms down. So you feel so good, relaxed in the temple, and you will take tirtha. So that will give a something digestion. If digestion is good for a human being, you are good in everything. There is a problem with the digestive system, you can always think that there is a problem in me and my health is not good. So probably that to correct the digestive disorders or the system, they started giving a tirtha which contains an osimum or this curput. So that's how we have started correcting by superficial resemblance between the plant parts and the affected organs, that is by examining the signature of nature. Many things, see, like Shankapushpi we call it as, and you, what is that one dry fruit we eat that just resembles like our brain? What is that? Which is the dry fruit?
Walnut.
Walnut. See, that resemblance is so, means when you eat a walnut, it contains omega-3 fatty acids and oligonucleotide, something like that, which actually enhances your memory power. So it is very good for the brain cells, they say, in generally. And whenever you're going for Alzheimer's disease in the sense nowadays we have started with a new disease, Alzheimer's, we have started forgetting. So I see now today also I forgot to send your link only. I'm doing for everybody. I forgot I have to send a link to my students. So that is one. So depiction. So this the part of a plant which depicts. Then they started, probably it looks like a brain, let me use it for a brain. It looks like a liver, let me use it for a liver. And just like that. So one of that Rakta Chandana, probably like that, or something which is enhances the skin, the complexion, something like that. They started like that is a signature of a nature. It is signing us that it has to be used for that. Like you take a Amrita Bali, it is in a heart shape. It is very, they say that it is very good for the heart, like that. Many are by accidental discovery. Like for example, one Vinca. I think you might know the Vinca. Vinca, it was used from many days as an anti-ulcer drug. So accidentally they came to know that it is not an anti-cancer drug. Anti-ulcer drug. It is an anti-cancer drug. Now it is a leading brand, anti-vincristine and vinblastine, which is present in the Vinca. So we see everywhere in Karnataka, everywhere you can see the Vinca, which gives a pink color flask, pink and the white, and the combination of pink and white. So that is all the accidental discoveries. These attributed to the acquisition on knowledge and conservation of the medicinal properties of natural products. So such pieces of information laid the foundation for the medicine. So coming to the last slide, coming to the importance of pharmacognosy. Pharmacognosy is the study of medicine derived from the natural sources, mainly from the plants and animals. It was before. Later on, majorly we study from plants, but later other sources also included. So the pharmacological qualities of traditional medicinal substances are very effective. The phytochemicals are derived from plants, and the identification of new drug candidates derived from the plant. New drug candidate in the sense the chemical constituents. Easy availability of drugs and their low cost. Then drug synergism, additive effect of two or more. Anything Ayurvedic you take, it is actually it contains more than one drug. It is not that one tulsi will be there. Along with the tulsi, another fennel will be there. The coriander will be there. So it is always a synergistic action. So that is one. Devoid of toxic. You cannot say devoid of, lesser side effects you can say. Whereas when you take any of a synthetic drugs, there will be definitely a toxic effects or the side effects. But you can see here, devoid of toxic effects or the drug interactions in the herbal formulation is very less. So next one is history of pharmacognosy. We'll start in the next class. I started tomorrow. I think I'll start in a exact timing.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes. Yes.
Ma'am, what should we write for importance? It is just important for study of medicine, that's it?
No.
Or should I copy the whole slide?
Whole slide. See, we study the pharmacological qualities of a traditional medicine substances which are effective. That is important. And the phytochemicals are derived from plants, are identified. I'll send you the notes, don't worry. Since you see, third point when you read, phytochemicals are derived from a plant, and you are going to identify them. After identifying, so once you know that, like example, cinchona, quinine was there. In the quinine, if the quinine was there just like that, it is extracted from a cinchola bark, it was over. But we started with a chloroquine. So means we started synthesizing quinine in the laboratory. Means that is a basis for the synthesis of quinine. That is, we call it as a biosynthesis. So once you know how the plant synthesize this quinine in it, like when I have to make a rice or make a pulao, what I'll do? I have to keep a cooker, then I have to put a oil, all those masalas, then rice, then I have to put a water. Means I should know the raw materials what I'm putting. Then only I can make a nice pulao. So these raw materials, what I'm talking, these we could identify through the biosynthetic pathway of the plant. Once you identify the biosynthetic pathway in the plant, it is easy for us to synthesize in the laboratory. Means that is an importance of a pharmacognosy. You are going to identify the phytochemicals, then you are going to study the pharmacological activity, then you are going to identify the new phytochemicals. When you identify the new phytochemicals, you can synthesize in the lab. Then they are easily available. Then there is a lot of drug synergism. There is no contraindications of a drug. There is no toxic effects. So this is the importance of pharmacognosy. Right? Over? One more slide I wanted to explain. See, are you there? You have next class?
Yes, ma'am.
Whose
Yes,
class?
ma'am.
Whose class? Who's taking next up?
Environmental science.
Okay, Liv. Constraints of medicinal plants have to start before the history. You please remind me in the next class, tomorrow. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay then. See you in the next class.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
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 Thank you so much. Please do listen. Otherwise, it is difficult. If you don't follow up in the starting, it will be difficult in the later part. Okay? If you have any doubts, please let me know. You can type and you can message or you can WhatsApp me. Done?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Right.